Greetings, everybody, wherever you might be getting us from all over the world. Live from Birmingham, United Kingdom. This is Morrison Mamutse of Diaspora Insurance, the company that gives you the award-winning Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan. Our apologies, we were supposed to have started at exactly 1900 hours. With what's going on around the world right now, the internet is overloaded. Everybody is using the internet. So we have had to make sure every setting is okay so we can come to you live to discuss issues that really matter in our lives right now. There is one issue that we are going to continue discussing from last week's broadcast, where I touched on quite a number of topics with my colleague Jeff. Jeff, good afternoon, good evening.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world, and thank you for tuning in. And we'll be touching on the issues and try to discuss as much as we can to highlight the issues and the solutions available.
Thank you very much, Jeff. I would like to say a big shout out and thank you to all the social media users who were with us last week, who managed to share the link with their relatives, their friends, wherever in the world they are. We had quite some huge inquiries and people have signed up. People have made very good choices about what to sign up to. As usual, we continue to pay our condolences to each one of us who has lost a loved one in the process. COVID-19 is real. Let's stay safe. Let's follow the rules and regulations as governed by the different states and countries where we live. We are pleased as well with the recoveries that are going on around the world. In my home country, in Zimbabwe, we are told there are 5 recoveries and 4 deaths, which is pleasing news. We continue to wish everybody a very speedy recovery. We are pleased as well. I'm personally pleased. Our Prime Minister here in the UK, having recovered from the pandemic, is blessed with a baby boy, and the family is growing. So congratulations to them. Right. Without much further ado, the topic of today, we are talking about the challenges that people face when this hard time of losing a loved one comes into play. Jeff last week touched on a very important subject where he talked about suitability of the cover. And we didn't have enough time on that. And I was going to say we were going to start on that. When I asked Jeff last week about when they crafted this policy, which is the Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan, which pays cash within 24 hours of a claim being confirmed by a Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan. There was something about why it matters that we have a policy that's flexible, that's versatile, that serves the purpose whenever it's called for. So I think we can start from there. And Jeff is available to maybe continue from there if you can still remember where you ended with it last week. Jeff, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much. And maybe I would also want to just start by paying our respects to those ones who passed away because of the terrible pandemic, the COVID-19, and also to wish all those in the hospital, maybe suffering, sick at home, quick recovery. We wish everyone a quick recovery and hope that we live to tell the story. And like they say, the tragedies of today may end up being just told the stories tomorrow. Hopefully we'll all live through this pandemic and tell the story. But it's a terrible time. So we wish everyone a quick recovery. And for those who have not been caught up in the pandemic, please keep safe, observe the rules, and let's not think that this is over. As long as there's no vaccine, this is not over, and we need to observe the rules and keep safe. Right, touching on the Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan, probably I mentioned the issue of suitability. And we were talking last week about the challenges that families who have had to deal with issues of bereavement in this current situation have had to face up to. Mm-hmm. And I will probably just start on that. Then we can talk about the suitability or the options that people have in terms of their cover options. Mm-hmm. And we ourselves as Diaspora Insurance, we are based here we've got an office, a big call center here in the UK in Birmingham. Mm-hmm. We also, there are teams there that support you, the sales team, there's the customer support team, there's mm-hmm. also the business development team and admin and stuff, but the team is available to support you. And like we said, everyone is capacitated to work from home and to make sure that your service level is not compromised. Yep. We also have a very vibrant call center in South Africa, in Randburg, South Africa, where we have a big team in sales and also business development there. So the support is available. Mm-hmm. We are regulated in the UK. I think this just answers some of the questions I saw after our discussion last week. One of the commentators on our pages was saying, he was talking about regulation. Yes, we are regulated by the FCA here in the UK, and being regulated by the FCA means a lot of things. And it's very, very important for people who are operating in the financial services or insurance to have that regulation. They play a very big role in ensuring that we are fit and proper to do what we are doing and provide the services that we are doing. And besides that, being regulated in the UK also entails that, like any other UK bank or financial services company or insurance company, your policy qualifies for the UK financial compensation scheme, which is very, very important. God forbid, if anything was to go wrong with the company, you know that you are covered under the financial compensation scheme as well. And we don't anticipate that happening because we are underwritten by a big international insurance company, Guard Risk, and we reinsure our product into the Munich Re. So it's a very, very strong proposition that we offer. The same applies in South Africa. We are regulated by the Financial Sector Conduct Authority in South Africa, and the information about our regulation are there on our website, diasporainsurance.com. Yeah. So in terms of our proposition, why I'm saying that is very important because when you're looking at a financial product, it's not just about how beautiful the product is. You need to look at the provider of the product. How are they regulated? Are they suitable to do what they are doing? Do they have the capacity to meet your future claims and things like that? But back to the issue about the challenges that people have been facing because of the lockdown, which is a global lockdown. We have had to deal with the claims, and as per our service level agreements, we guarantee families that within 24 hours of providing proof of death, we pay them out.
Yep.
We pay, and the cases that we have had to deal with were not small cases, some running into 20,000, 10,000 claims, and all of them were settled within 24 hours. I would say within 5-6 hours, all the claims were settled. So we are working very hard to make sure that families get what they subscribed for, and they get the support that they need. We walk them through what they need to do in these trying times. We go out of our way to look for information for them. And in terms of the challenges that people are facing, if I can just touch on maybe one or two cases without saying names for data protection, it's a very trying time, and may those ones affected rest in peace. And we continue to pay our deepest condolences to the families. But the families affected, if I am reminded of just one or two of the cases where, when they took their policies, the plan was that I want to be laid to rest in my home country. That was the drive, that was the motivation. And it's common with most first-generation migrants, because first-generation migrants, unlike the children, we start to have offshore and stuff. First-generation migrants, we tend to prescribe or to subscribe home because emotionally we belong where we grew up. I was saying the other time that even if I sleep, I don't remember ever dreaming being on the London Eye or something like that.
It's always where memories were made.
Yeah, I dream heading Keto and things like that. I've been to London, go on the River Thames, River Thames cruises. But when you sleep, you never dream of those things, because you somehow prescribe where you were brought up, and that's the emotional belonging that most people end up being guided by when they are considering things like policies like this. But what I wanted to say basically is that people sometimes, when they take policies, they are thinking emotionally. They are thinking that this is what I want to do. But long term, situations like the current lockdown will happen. And in long term, you find yourself in situations where you may find yourself, people who matter to you back home, mostly parents, siblings, are no longer there. If you are blessed with longevity, are no longer there. So you find people having to juggle things. So the point I'm making is that families that have had to deal with the bereavement at the moment, they've had to change their positions. They were thinking of repatriation, but now we are being forced to do burial abroad in the UK. Some are being forced to do cremation with the hope that after the COVID lockdown, they can then go back home and do the actual burial. The other option that when we were talking to our partners, the funeral directors, CJ Rail, were saying is that people could actually just get the body prepared for long-term storage, then they can repatriate after the lockdown. But again, the funeral directors say if it's a COVID-19 situation, then they are not allowed to treat the body with a process called body embalming. But which means that creates a problem. If it's not a COVID situation and you want to repatriate, or you want to store the body, again, they can't guarantee that the body will remain in a good state for the long term. So those are some of the challenges that people have had to be forced to do otherwise in terms of their policy. And like we said last week, when you have a bereavement now, whether it's COVID or it's not COVID, there is a problem that you can't repatriate because of the lockdown. If you are able to repatriate, to repatriate someone, you need to do body embalming, which is not possible at the moment. And if you are going to be able to say by the stroke of magic, you skip that, you manage to clear that hurdle, you still find yourself in a situation when on arrival in your home country, you are facing lockdown, being quarantined because of the high risk of the COVID situations. I think people saw even in South Korea today, the news was that they only have got 4 cases recorded today, and all those 4 cases are imported. They are not in-country transmissions. So that's why it's countries are worrying about people movement until this problem is solved. So those are some of the challenges that people are facing in the current
people are facing. So if we've got that now, Jeff, if we've got that, and I think this is one part that we agreed we were going to try and tackle, because most of the people, I would say most of the clients that we cover are from the countries where we operate as diaspora insurance, who provide the diaspora funeral cash plan, which is Botswana, Eswatini, Ghana, Kenya, Mozambique, Malawi, Namibia, Tanzania, Uganda, South Africa, Ethiopia, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. We have this cultural thing about how we pay our respects, about how we would say this is how we get closure. And I know many people don't want to talk about this subject, about how to prepare for end of life and stuff like that, because they find it a little bit distressing and stuff like that. But we can't avoid it because we want to plan and prepare for it. So how does the goods and services policies, and if we are talking goods and services policies, we are talking about policies that offer like a package, which is like, if you are going to pass on from wherever you are, we'll provide you with this, we'll provide you with this, we'll provide you with this. What are the challenges that we are hearing from our communities regarding the goods and services packages for end of life and the cash cover for end of life during this time of a global pandemic disaster? Where do people stand in terms of challenges?
I think from a financial advisory point of view, I'm a bank, I'm a financial advisor by profession. From a financial advisory point of view, the issues that I mentioned about regulation, making sure that the provider of the cover is strong, they can sustain the operations long term, is very important. But besides that comes in the issue where, as a client, you have identified that come my end of life, I don't want people to be struggling. I don't want people to suffer a double tragedy where one end the family is bereaved, on the other end the family is having to be reduced to beggars, where you are suddenly looking for funds for the send off. Because I have said it before that your end of your final or your send off. In fact, I'm reminded about the send-off of Muhammad Ali, the way the send-off was done. And I've got a friend who works for the World Bank. And he, at that time, he was based in South Africa. And they were invited to the U.S. Embassy in South Africa to do the send-off and the celebration for Muhammad Ali on the day he was laid to rest. So the send-off is always important because it gives your people a chance to celebrate your life. It gives your loved ones a chance to have a closure. But when things go wrong because there's no money for the send-off, then you cannot be guaranteed a dignified send-off, because people are busy worrying about how are we going to manage this whole thing. Because like they say, death comes when you are least prepared. And when it happens, that's when you realize there's literally no money in the bank account. I've had to deal with
Jeff, on that. But then people say, I have a policy that's supposed to cater for me. I have this policy with the bank. I have this policy that I subscribed to because I always wanted to be buried in my home country. So this policy gives me all those.
Yeah, the issue really there is that when you look at policies in terms of what you ultimately want to achieve, what you want to also consider is the long-term suitability of the covers. Because I have said it before that traditional funeral policies, you talk of what we grew up to know to be the funeral policy, where someone can buy a policy which promises to give you this casket, to promise you to give this. You go into Zim, you find a lot of funeral directors operate those policies. You go international, like in the UK, you've got the likes of Co-op Funeral Care, you've got the likes of Dignity Funeral Care, Golden Charter. They offer those policies. But over the long term, people need to realize that we now live in a completely different world. When those traditional policies were structured, I've said that they were structured at a time when people were pretty much localized. The assumption on those policies was that one lives locally, one dies locally, one gets buried locally. So it was pretty much easy for someone to say, I live in London. If I die in London, a local funeral director can take my body and do the cremation or do the burial. Same if you take someone who lives in Sandton in South Africa, if you live there and you die there and you want to be buried locally, then the service provision is pretty much good. But the reality of our world now is that barring the lockdown we are going through now, the reality of our world now is that we are transnational. Most of us, especially the diasporans, are basically transnational. Transnational means we are in this phase of our lives where we belong to more than one nation. We belong to more than one society. So our reality is no longer the same with the reality of our ancestors or our parents or grandparents. We belong to more than one nation. So when you are looking at a cover that protects you and most for your children, you want a cover that should be a flexible, a versatile cover that can be used for any circumstance. And when you lock yourself when a policy that says we'll do this for you, you are simply creating a lot of rigidity where you find that rigidity may end up being the problem, because situations like the COVID arises, you no longer able to be taken back home, you want to be buried abroad. Suddenly you get told that a piece of land for your send off is 5,000. And to the local funeral directors are quoting so much. You find yourself in a very awkward situation where you need to be begging for money for your send off, irrespective of the fact that you had a policy which was set aside. So that it feeds into the issue about the suitability of your cover. When you are looking at the cover, you need to try and create scenarios that may happen in the future. Of course, no one would have foreseen us going into this lockdown. But you could have still have created scenarios like, okay, fine, if I live abroad and I end up not being taken home, either by choice or by default, what would happen? Yeah, because the reality is that in as much as I emotionally belong to where I came from, yes, in my home country as a first generation migrant, the reality is that the longer I live abroad, if I'm blessed with longevity and I start losing parents, I start losing siblings, my emotional fixation about home may start to shift, because I become a grandparent here, grandchildren here, children offshore, and you end up seeing there's almost no point in repatriation. You don't want the need to bring the future into the present in that fashion and find yourself in a situation where you don't have a cover. Because the cover you took when you were working in your 40s was saying we'll take you back home. Suddenly you are in your 80s, in the afternoons of your life, you want a cover that can bury you abroad, or you may find even if you think that you will be in the same country offshore that you are in now, that may not be the case, because like I said, we are transnational now. You may find yourself in a situation where you have in your retirement, you migrated, say, to the UK or to Australia or to Canada. But in your retirement, your child, one of your children, I'm here in the UK. It's not surprising. By the time I retire, if I'm blessed with the years, one of my children is doing well in Sydney, Australia. One of my children is doing well in Florida. I may end up relocating to live with my children in Florida. I want my policy to go with me to Florida.
So in that case now, what we're looking at is the suitability, the flexibility as a solution to some of the challenges that we are facing now.
That's exactly the point. When you are doing a policy, you need to look at, say, create different scenarios. I would say, okay, fine, I gave an example where in the afternoons of my life, I may find myself in Florida. I may find myself in Sydney, Australia with one of my children, or I may find even during my working life, I may find an opportunity and relocate to Australia, relocate to Canada. It could be anywhere. you don't want it to be caught up in a situation where you say, oh, I relocated from UK. My policy was structured to repatriate me from UK.
So,
it becomes
so
a
let's
problem.
talk about this now, Jeff. So let's talk about this now. Whatever that you say that I know about, because I'm a staff member with the Diaspora Insurance. I know about the police. I know about the Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan. But we do this program so we get to tell the world about the suitability, about what we offer, about the people that can be covered on this policy. Now that we know about the need for flexibility, for suitability, for planning ahead and bringing the future into the present, how does the Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan tick the boxes about the issues that you are highlighting as this is what we need? So what are the features on the Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan that tick the boxes into exactly what we've found ourselves in due to COVID-19?
Yeah. Like I said, the lockdown, no one anticipated the lockdown, but that's the reality what we are in now. So you suddenly find yourself, if you were locked on a policy that says we'll take your body home, now you can't do that. You find yourself, maybe you want cremation, you want to be buried abroad. You need then to have a policy which is flexible to be able to do all those things if anything changes. So a policy should never create a situation where, because of your relocation or because of you being in the wrong place, it becomes invalid. And that happened with a lot of adult first-generation migrants, that the policies back home, they left those policies and they find themselves offshore without any policy. And you also find situations where you can travel on holiday. You go on holiday either to the Caribbean or to Greece or wherever. Because as we grow older into retirement, we'll have a bit of more income, we'll have less work to do. So we start to explore the world, traveling a lot. And if you get your situation where you find yourself in a, say you go on holiday to the Caribbean, God forbid you suffer death there, and your travel insurance says, no, we can't pay because when you traveled, you knew you had the cancer or you had a heart problem, so we are not paying. You may find yourself stranded, the body stranded in the Caribbean or the body stranded somewhere. So all those things will happen. But what I wanted then to point out is that with a policy which is flexible, which takes into account that people are transnational, your choices can change. Your location can change. Your preferences can change. I can even say, as I talk now, I'm still quite traditional. I want a proper burial. But the reality is that the longer if I'm blessed with a longer life, I may find myself drifting towards cremation as a choice. I may find myself in a situation where being taken to my home country is no longer, it dies naturally by default because of the change of circumstances. So what you want then is to have a policy that will still be applicable. If I want to be taken home, same policy. If I want to be buried abroad, same policy. If I want to be cremated, same policy. If I travel abroad on holiday or relocate, same policy.
Is that what the Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan is now?
That's the essence of a cash cover. That's the essence of a cash cover. Cash knows no border. Cash knows no border. That's the underlying thing. Cash knows no border. Therefore, by virtue of that, your policy becomes also transnational.
Okay.
Your policy also becomes a worldwide protection without borders. That is very, very important, that you are transnational. Make sure your policy is transnational. And your policy can handle any eventuality. Any situation, even a situation where you can say the plane crashed, the body can't even be found, the family wants to travel to the site to pay their respects and do a ceremonial send-off, your policy should pay for that. Don't be caught up in a situation when you are locked on a policy that say we'll give you this casket. The casket, if you need it at the point of need, with the cash you can then buy the casket that the family you need, or the family will say this is the best for our loved ones. So the idea of a cash policy is to keep the flexibility that you need on your policy, so that any change of circumstance, change of preference, change of choice, change of your issues, like your location, you could be anywhere in the world, you should be able to use the same policy. Because
So
with the diaspora funeral cash plan, what we then say is that if a family suffers bereavement for someone who has got a policy, all you need to do is provide the proof of death, and within 24 hours of proof of death, the monies are paid out. We don't specify to say, oh, when you took the policy were in the UK, therefore give us a UK bank account. Oh no, when you took the policy were in Australia, therefore give us an Australian bank account. You could have taken the policy when you were in Australia. You have now relocated to Canada. The family what the family needs to do is fill in on the claim form that put the money into this Citibank account in Canada. That's all what they need to do. If a family find themselves on holiday in Florida, and someone who's some interesting examples are like someone who is based in USA or UK travels to say to Zimbabwe, Kenya, South Africa, and you suffer death there. Even if it's your home country and your choice is to be repatriated to your new offshore home country, the police should work for you for the reverse. Say I went to Zimbabwe to see Victoria Falls. I suffered death there. I want my police to repatriate me from Zimbabwe to UK. I want my police to repatriate me from Tanzania back to Australia. I want my police to repatriate me from Kenya back to Florida. Your police should be able to do that.
Right. On that note, Jeff, thank you very much for making that clarity. And for everybody else who is joining us, this is Morrison Mamuse and Jeff, our CEO here at Diaspora Insurance, the people that offer you the award-winning Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan. In short, we want to bring you to speed about what's been happening. We are answering frequently asked questions, and we started last week. And today we are looking at the challenges that we diasporans and even our loved ones, wherever they are, can face, especially if we're faced with the pandemic that we are in right now. So being a responsible insurer, we always come in and try and articulate the issues for our viewers, for our policyholders, and for potential clients and stakeholders. And if any of our viewers have got any friends, relatives, and whoever who has connections with these following countries: Botswana, Eswatini, Ghana, Kenya, Mozambique, Malawi, Namibia, Tanzania, Uganda, South Africa, Ethiopia, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. They can check out the Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan on our website, diasporainsurance.com, or on our product website, diasporafuneralcashplan.com, or check out our Facebook page, Diaspora Insurance. And we have got our teams answering questions there, so we get accurate information. Jeff, let me draw you back to something that we answered last week. And I think it's important we continue to reinforce on that. You know, there is issues around fake news. There is issues around grapevine news. Where people go around in the world and say, don't you even think about taking out a policy in this time because nobody's going to pay if there is a pandemic like this and stuff like that. How do we deal with fake news? And what have we done to mitigate against that to our clients? I'm sure we have been overwhelmed with inquiries, people wanting to know if they are safe, if their money is safe, if they're going to be paid should anything happen.
Yeah, I think
what's the corporate position?
I think our position, to just be specific on the question, our position is that it's a pandemic, it's a COVID, and no one anticipated it. But like we said last week, we are honoring our responsibility, and our responsibility is to make sure that if a covered family or a covered life is bereaved, or we intervene financially within 24 hours of providing proof of death. So that intervention is there, and we've been doing it. We work tirelessly to make sure that the intervention comes on time so that people can focus on celebrating the life of their loved ones. So in terms of the news, we also keep an eye on the news. The reason why we are doing this program also is to reassure our clients that, yes, it's a global pandemic, but support is available. And also to make sure that when we get news, I think it's some of the clients who have had to help and pay and do things in the last week, did not contact us.
Mhm.
We saw news circulating, this person has died. Out of interest, we then check to say, are they not our client?
Mhm.
And sometimes when we get contacted, it's actually family, friends, members who contact us to say, I once referred this person to you, and
Okay.
I hear they've passed on.
Mhm.
Can you just confirm they've got a police? That's when we start to check and realize, yeah, they've got a police. Then we started to dig out to contact them, and we contacted the family, and we then say, oh, who is available? This is the person who was appointed by the person who took the police to sign up for the money. Can you
Yeah.
give us your details? So we sometimes the process doesn't start from the bereaved family. Why we keep an eye on news is that we can start the process from the office. To say
Okay.
we
Brilliant.
understand, we are very sorry, we understand this has happened, confirm it's true, and
Mhm.
can we speak to this person because he's the person who was appointed. Before you come in, I wanted to just touch on another point regarding the cash cover. The other
Yeah.
reason why people may want to find yourself on cash cover because of its flexibility and being a worldwide protection without borders. The other
Mhm.
reason you want a cash cover is that with cash in hand,
Mhm.
you can cover a whole host of other issues or other expenses that arise with a funeral,
Yeah.
as opposed
Okay.
to being locked to say, we are going to give you a coffin, we are going to give you transport, we are going to give you this and that. With the
Mhm.
cash cover, what it means is that you can cover for a host of other things, be it if it wasn't for the COVID, a lot of funerals will end up with a lot of people gathering, food,
Mhm.
bills
Mhm.
piling up.
Mhm.
You end up with a lot
Mhm.
of expenses like flowers, photography, videography. But
Mhm.
even more importantly, beyond the funeral,
Mhm.
people forget that the cost of the send off it doesn't finish at the point of burial.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
almost a worldwide practice that people do memorial. Beyond
Mhm.
the funeral, you want to do a memorial service.
Mhm.
Beyond the funeral, you if it wasn't if it wasn't a cremation situation, you
Mhm.
want to do a tombstone.
Yep. Yep.
So with a cash cover, it means you are prescribed. You have got a policy that goes beyond providing you a casket or providing you with the transport. You are
Mhm.
covering all the other expenses that will arise.
Mhm.
And even things, if you die in the diaspora and you end up wanting to be taken home, it would happen
Mhm.
that your family back home or your brothers, sisters, whoever is back home, or your parents, you may want to find yourself shipping some of your personal effects,
Mhm.
your family back home. Those are costs that would need to be incurred.
To be incurred.
Yeah. So the idea of a cash cover, again, beyond the flexibility and giving you a worldwide protection, is to give
Mhm.
you money to cover all other related the expenses that would arise up
Mhm.
up to
Mhm.
the memorial, up to the tombstone.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Jeff. And I wish all of us who are listening to us right now, and who have got friends, relatives, and workmates who are from the 13 countries that we cover, uh, you tag them on our social media platforms where we are broadcasting live to you, coming from Birmingham, United Kingdom. Please tag them on the messages timeline. Why? Because the question I'm going to ask Jeff now is one of the most crucial ones.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the challenges that we face as diasporans. It's not so much about bereavement where someone has passed on from here in the diaspora where we are.
Mm-hmm.
It's also about any of our loved ones wherever we come from, our home countries.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah.
So I know our policy, as long as someone is a policy holder with us,
Mm-hmm.
they can also cover their loved ones in their home country.
Very,
So
very correct. Yeah.
so for anybody who is listening to us right now, who has got some Setswana origin or Eswatini or Ghana or Kenya or Mozambique or Malawi or Namibia, Tanzania, Uganda, South Africa, Ethiopia, Zambia, and Zimbabwe, just know as long as you are a policy holder with the Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan, you also can cover your loved ones wherever they are. And we don't ask you for any medical records. Everybody is guaranteed acceptance, and the cash cover, like Jeff has just been saying, we pay in 24 hours after confirmation of receipt of all the documents that we require. So, Jeff, on this one, tell us, myself included, about the thinking behind coming up with this part where people can also cover their loved ones wherever they are, and the process of how they get covered. And because there is always going to be the reason why this extra bit has been added to this policy. Talk us through that.
It's a very, very important point, because the way we looked at the diaspora funeral cash plan is that most diasporans end up being the cash cow. You end up being the problem fixer for your family back home. So you find yourself in a situation, if you lose your parent back home, you need to intervene financially. If you lose a brother, if you lose a sister, if you lose anyone close back home, you find yourself being notified very, very quickly, because you need to intervene financially. And the situations will happen where you get to know about bereavement back home before some people back home even know about it. Because the assumption is that you've got the financial capacity to intervene financially and support the family. Therefore, what we realized as diaspora funeral cash plan is that peace of mind comes not just from a selfish point of view to say, me and my wife and my children, me and my spouse and my children were covered. You always have this bothering you to say, but if a brother back home suffers bereavement, what do I do? If something happens to my loved ones back home, what do I do? So you always have those challenges where you have people you love and you want to be able to be prepared should anything go wrong. So the idea of being able to add a family is to create peace of mind for the diasporans, that for a small premium, you've got enough cover to cover your family back home as well. I think we had if you check on our YouTube channel, the Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan, if you search Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan on YouTube, you will see that. I think there's one testimonial where someone was saying, if it wasn't for the Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan, I wouldn't have been able to go and bury my own child. That's very, very moving to say that without a policy, a funeral could possibly happen back home without you attending, or without you being able to intervene financially to say, okay, fine, I'm not able to come, but I want you to give mom, I want you to give brother, I want to give you sister the best send off ever. I will come at when I'm able to come, but you will always find yourself having to intervene financially, and sometimes
financially,
when you are looked at by your family as the fixer or as the cash cow, for you to say there's a bereavement back home and I don't have money, I'm very sorry to hear about that, but I don't have money at the moment. It's something that it becomes almost completely unacceptable, especially in family setups that we grew up in, where things are a bit communal. Your responsibility extends beyond your what we call your nucleus family, self, spouse, and children. Your responsibility are kind of communal. The whole clan can depend on you for support. So if you then say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, brother passed away, but I don't have any money at the moment, they will never understand that. So you find most diasporans end up borrowing money, using credit card, or doing extra shifts, which wreaks havoc on their health to try and support the families back home. So what we simply said is, for the peace of mind, we want you to be able to cover your loved ones and put them on the policy for a small premium. If God forbid something happens to your loved ones, you get your monies in and you know that your support is available. So that's the essence of a policy, to say you are just covering yourself, you're able to cover your loved ones, and like we said, the support is available. We've had to deal with the situations. I'm sure some of the listeners have gone through this phase with us, or they know someone who has been able to do that on our policy, where someone loses someone overnight. By morning they tell us, by about midday, 2 p.m. the monies have been paid. Same day they are on the flight. And they are on the flight traveling back to their home country to for the burial or the funeral of their loved ones. So if it wasn't for the lockdown, that is the same kind of efficiency with which we work to make sure that families get immediate financial intervention. So we've had situations where someone notifies us in the morning, by evening they are on the flight to their home country to do their final send-off of their loved ones. So it's possible. That's why we do this policy in that structure.
Right, Jeff. On that note, the the connection kind of like dropped you out a little bit, but I still could hear you. So Jeff was answering on the issue to do with the diaspora funeral cash plan. If one is a policy holder on the diaspora cash plan, they also can add their loved ones from the home countries that we cover, which are Botswana, Eswatini, Ghana, Kenya, Mozambique, Malawi, Namibia, Tanzania, Uganda, South Africa, Ethiopia, Zimbabwe, and Zambia. And I'm one of the sales advisors, and I know we have covered people over the last couple of days, and the premiums are really affordable and worthy of coming out to check out. So for any people who are catching up with us, we are towards the last 5 minutes of our broadcast. We have been, as we promised, we have been talking about the challenges that we as diasporans face when we have a situation of bereavement. If you happen to be on the wrong policy or with no policy at all. And then Jeff has just been answering the other question about it doesn't end with the diasporan and their family wherever they are. It also goes beyond, and you can add your family. And if we're talking family, the one might be family because they were your best friend in school, and that's the only person you know. As long as you've got their name, their surname, their date of birth, they can be covered on the policy. And this is an all acceptance guaranteed policy. So Jeff, if you can hear me, the picture is a bit blurred.
Okay. I'm not sure why.
If you can hear me,
I can hear you.
Right. We want to go into the final 5 minutes.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
We wanted to go into the last 5 minutes of our today's broadcast, and I wanted you to come in and complete on the statement that you were saying about covering for our loved ones wherever they are.
Yeah, it's important. I think just to confirm that it's very, very important that we have the peace of mind of knowing that if someone who is your family member back home is a bereavement happens, you are able to for the small premium, you are able to finance the funeral. You are able to travel yourself to the funeral. So it's important that that's why we provided this cover in a manner that allows you to do that. So it's just to make sure that the support is available. And also when you find yourself with what I have said about diaspora death before is that diaspora death, in a narrow definition, we can talk of it as someone dying offshore in the diaspora. But the reality is that from a broader definition, diaspora is death where a diasporan loses someone, either in the diaspora or back home. Both scenarios creates a very different situation, even for people back home, where they have to wait maybe 2, 3, 4 more days to wait for the diasporan to come for the funeral. Or even if when you manage to go for the funeral, you do the funeral, and then after the funeral, as a family, you plan the memorial. And you may find yourself 3 months or in a month's time having to travel back again for the funeral. So again, all those costs would need to be planned for, and that's why we do this policy as a policy that you can cover your loved ones back home to make sure that support is available in any circumstance. So that's the structuring that we want to make sure that people can benefit from the policy if it's structured correct and suitable for them in terms of their current needs, in terms of their future needs as well.
Yeah, right. Fantastic, also, Jeff.
Yeah. Before I also, I think what we have found out is that a lot of people, in as much as we are going into almost 10 years now of doing this diaspora funeral cash plan, our portfolio is got thousands and thousands of clients, but we always find a situation where the family loses someone unexpectedly and there's no policy. And we want to encourage people to say, get yourselves covered. It's very, very important. In as much as we want to live on the faith and hope that we will not come to pass. Reality is that at some point will come to pass.
Yeah,
And
right.
also
That's a fact.
the thinking that death will happen next door, then we just contribute our small amounts as part of the condolence. To God, next door can easily be your door. So never count on the funeral happening next door, because to God, next door can be your door. So be prepared and make sure that you don't put your family in a very awkward situation where bereavement happens, there's no money, and people are struggling to say, how do we deal with this? So it's very important. I think one of the sessions we will do in the next coming weeks, we wanted to focus on the issue, on the common excuses that people find themselves as reasons for not covering themselves, but because ultimately they just end up in trouble because there's no cover. If you can't prepare for your own funeral expenses, who do you expect to pay for them?
Yeah, it's very true. And I know sometimes people tend to think we don't want to talk about this. What I've realized is anybody that doesn't want to talk about it, they don't have cover, and they are not. They always want to feel like they are afraid of it because they are not ready for it. We are not saying anybody's gonna be ready for any of that, but to know if anything was gonna happen, at least I have a starting point, and a starting point is where I can just go and put my claim, and then at least I have a starting point. That's where we aim to start from. So I want to thank you for coming in, Jeff. As always, Jeff is the CEO of Diaspora Insurance, the company that offers the Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan. And during this week, we have been having inquiries and sign-ups from all over the world. We signed people from Australia, people from the Republic of Ireland, we signed people from Canada, we signed people from the US, we signed people from South Africa, from Namibia. So thank you everybody who is spreading the word. The reason being, why do we want to come like this? It's because we are all connected in one way or another. Have you realized, Jeff, if ever something happens, be it's good news or bad news, if you happen to attend, you will get to know someone who knows someone who knows someone.
It's always the connection. It's always
the connection. So if we spread the word, it means we will have to connect in the good times, and we can even connect in the bad times, knowing the cover is there. So any final words, Jeff, before we go? I will give you 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you so much. I could just also finish by saying that why we do a cash cover also is because with a cash cover, you can choose your cover amounts. We do a maximum of 20,000, and you can choose to say, at the moment, my budget can only afford 10,000. At the moment in my budget, I'm comfortable with 15, I'm comfortable with 5. So you can go on a cover that is comfortable, because we allow you over time to increase your cover. Or even people who start on a very high cover amount and say, I no longer need this high cover amount, you allow you to reduce your cover amount. So the option for cash cover is that it's also flexible in terms of the cover amounts. But as my last word, what we need to our take home really is that a cash cover is structured to be in line with the reality of our new world, where we have become transnational. The cover is flexible, it's versatile, it's also transnational. And therefore, what we have said is that bring the future into the present, or fast forward time into 40 years, and imagine when you are retired in your 80s, or if you are blessed to see 90s or 100, you want your policy to be still available for you, irrespective of any change of circumstances. So that's the idea of a cash cover, to keep all the options open and very flexible. And lastly, I wanted to pay our deepest condolences to our departed loved ones due to the terrible pandemic, and also to wish anyone in hospital a quick recovery. And for those of us who are at home and working from home, please observe the rules. Don't venture out to just venture out for the sake of
even when you have got cover. Please don't venture out.
Don't just venture out for the sake of it. Please observe the rules. This disease is real. It's terrible, and it's wreaking havoc on communities. So we need you safe. Please observe the rules, and we'll meet again when we do the next session, which will be next next Thursday, same time around 7.
Next Thursday. Thank you very much, Jeff. Yeah, Jeff is my immediate boss. Jeff is the CEO of Diaspora Insurance, the company that offers you Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan, a cash plan that offers you the peace of mind guaranteed. He has just been answering questions from last week. If anybody is covered by us, no matter what circumstances, if they make the claim, we will pay within the 24 hours as promised. And we cover people who come from the various countries, which are Botswana, Eswatini, Ghana, Kenya, Mozambique, Malawi, Namibia, Tanzania, Uganda, South Africa, Ethiopia, Zambia, Zimbabwe, wherever you are in the world. And it's not just the immediate persons cover that we do. We also cover our loved ones, wherever they are. As long as you've got a policy with the Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan, you can add as many of your loved ones onto that policy as your budget can permit. And that then guarantees the peace of mind. And my name is Morrison Mamuse. I am an advisor here in the UK with the sales team and with the Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan. So while I sign off, I was going to say, where do people get in touch with us? Jeff, you had said goodbye.
Yeah.
So where do people get in touch with us? I know our teams right now are available on the different platforms to answer questions and to take any inquiries. Where can people get in touch with the Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan?
Yeah, people can go on our website, diasporainsurance.com. People can go on our Facebook page, Diaspora Insurance. People can go on our product website, diasporafuneralcashplan.com. In terms of our number, our contact numbers, we've got the office in the UK, which is 0121 295 1116. Repeating the office number 0121 295 1116. International and anyone from anywhere in the world, we are available on WhatsApp, and our WhatsApp number is +44 770 3838304. If you are on our website on the Diaspora Insurance, you can also see our South Africa call center number. Our South Africa call center number is 010109655. That's our number in the call center in Randburg, Joburg. So 010109655. Our WhatsApp number for South Africa is 065 907 0419. That's our contact numbers in South Africa. If you come on our website, we have a live chat. You can also leave a message. If we are offline, you can leave a message and we'll be able to come back to you within 24 hours. But we are going to be supporting live chat so that if you come on the website, you can chat to an advisor straight away.
And for any of our clients and potential clients and prospective clients and stakeholders who might get in touch with us, please note, if you are here in the UK or you're expecting a call from here in the UK, this is one thing that I want all our viewers and listeners to take note. If you get any call that ends with 1116, just get those last 4 digits, 1116. Please, we are not cold callers. It's us who are returning your call. Because if you leave an inquiry, we are working from home. We have got our computer set to call from our landline number that Jeff has just provided, which is +44 121 295 1116. So just the final numbers, everybody. 1116 is Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan, who are giving you a call back. So don't ignore us like we are the PIP people or the cold callers, please. So on behalf of everybody behind the scenes who have hosted us so brilliantly, on behalf of my other team who are manning the different pages on our social media and answering to questions, thank you very much for having us. We'll be coming to you every other week. For now, I was going to say, if you have any pertinent questions that you want to ask us, please feel free to drop them on the comments page on our website or on our social media platforms. We will be more than ready to discuss some of the frequently asked questions on our next broadcast. To the gentleman behind the scenes who is hosting us and making sure I can see Jeff from the other end while he's working from home, myself, Morris and Mamuse, sales advisor here with the Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan, I will say thank you, stay safe, and keep observing the rules wherever we are. And a massive congratulations to all the people who are recovering from this terrible COVID-19. And for all of us, let's stay safe. And our condolences to whoever that has lost a loved one. So signing out for this Thursday evening from here in Birmingham. Today it was supposed to be sunny, but now it's cloudy. From cloudy Birmingham in the United Kingdom. Thank you very much to Tim. Thank you to Jeff. And thank you to everybody else behind the scenes. Speak to you soon. Ciao. Bye.
Hi. I welcome you and thank you for watching this video. I would like to share with you some challenges which many foreign nationals are facing as a result of COVID-19. In the event of death during this period, if you are a foreign national, it becomes a challenge to repatriate the body of our loved ones. Even so, if you have got a funeral plan, the funeral plan at this moment in time may not work because the funeral plan, it was designed to offer services, meaning to repatriate the body to the place that you have chosen or to your country of origin. So that being said, it means that plan may not work because all borders are closed. So what is the solution to that problem? One needs cash. Yes, with cash you can change your plans. With cash you may decide to bury your loved ones in South Africa, or you may decide to cremate, then bury your loved one, the ashes of your loved ones in your country of origin when things normalize. So where do you get this cash? Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan, it's a second to none plan which many people have taken advantage. And therefore, I would like to share with you this marvelous plan which you cannot afford to miss. Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan, it offers a maximum of about 100,000 rands cash, which will be available within 24 to 48 hours after proving that one has died. Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan also knows no boundaries, meaning if you are here in South Africa and you have got your relative who is anywhere in the world, be it your children or your spouse, and if they die there during this period, then yes, cash will be available to assist you. So it's a wise decision for you to have this plan. But the question is, how much does it cost to have a funeral cash plan? I would like to share with you an example of how much this plan will cost you or how affordable it is. Have a look. A Zimbabwean family of 3. Remember, our Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan covers a number of countries, which I'm going to share with you the countries that, but in this case, we have just taken an example of a Zimbabwean family of 3. As you can see here, the father, the cover is 100,000. The spouse cover is also 100,000, and their child cover is 50,000. And have a look how much they will pay. A total of only 207 rand 83 cents every month for a cover of 100,000. Affordable, isn't it? It means they will have cover, they will have cash they'll have money anytime in the event of death, so they can change their plans. Meaning, if the situation demands cremation, they'll cremate. If the situation demands that they bury their loved one in a foreign land, they can do that because they've got cash. But without cash, with a funeral plan which offers only services, this becomes impossible. So I invite you to think twice and think wisely to have a funeral cash plan with diaspora insurance, which is very affordable. Let me share with you the countries that are covered by a diaspora insurance, or the countries that can access cover through diaspora insurance. Access cover with diaspora insurance: Botswana, Eswatini, Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, Tanzania, Zambia, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. So for you to get a free quotation, please ask the person that has shared this video with you. Remember, it's very affordable. I thank you.